Hello everyone, this is Father the Everchosen, back in Total War Warhammer 2, bringing you another quick battle, this time pitting my Greenskins under the command of Grom the Paunch against my opponent, commanding the High Elves, and they have brought an Archmage of Fire as their lord. So we'll go through my opponent's army real quick. He's got two Illyrian Reaver archers hidden here in the woods from me. As said before, this Archmage of Fire, bringing the Burning Head, Flaming Sword of Rune, Fireball, and then he obviously has Arcane Conduit and Book of Hoeth, but he also brings the Armor of Stars, so he can hide himself. On top of that, he has brought 4 units of Rangers for his front line, backed up by 2 Silverin Guard on his flanks. And then bringing up the center, he has the Pure Main Company, the White Lion of Trace, ROR. They bring, I think their gimmick is the Armor Sundering, as well as the Guardian effect. On top of that, he has 2 Sisters of Avalorn, a Sister of Avalorn, and then the Talons of Torquelada, the new ROR for the Archers in Light Armor. They do flammable and flaming damage, and they also have martial mastery, so if they were to get it into melee, they can mix it up a little better than normal. They bring Rhaegar's Pride, the War Lions of Trace, which have this unique ability, the Mighty Roar, inflicting a -8 leadership and -25% speed penalty to enemies around them. He also has 2 baseline Illyrian Reavers for his backline, and that completes his army. Shooting over to mine, I have the Death Creepers stationed over here, the ROR, Forest Goblin Spider Riders. They're hidden. They bring regeneration to the battlefield for their that's their shtick. On top of that, I bring 2 Orc Boys, 2 Savage Orcs, and 2 Savage Orc Biggins. The Orc Boys in the front have a single bronze chevron. The Savage Orcs each have 2, and then the Biggins have nothing. On top of that, I bring an Orc Shaman. The Orc Shaman is on foot, and he brings Brainburster, Foot of Gork, and a Scroll of Shielding to give that, I think it's a 20% ward save. Let's check just to be sure. 22% damage resistance. The 2 Stone Trolls in the back each have 2 chevrons, bumping up their leadership to a better area. I also bring the Rusty Errors with their Armor Sundering missiles. And then off to the side over here, I have Grom the Paunch with his full loadout, bringing Language of the Boys, the Great Un is here, Lucky Banner, the Axe of Grom, and then I have a Black Orc Big Boss on a boar, bringing his full loadout, so he's got the Brass Cleaver, Rabble Rouse, Dragon Slayer's Fang, Get Back Ear, and Heroic Killing Blow. So we're going to jump in here. At first, I move my entire army to try to take this side of the hill. I notice that his lord is over here, and I see, I think, just one of these units, maybe the Rangers. I start moving forward my lord and the big boss, and I see the Illyrian Reavers over here. So I pull both Grom and the big boss away, trying to save them from being riddled with the arrows. Now, they did use up some of their shots on the Black Orc Big Boss unwisely, since the Black Orc Big Boss has so much armor, silver shield, and have barely done any damage to him. So I start positioning my troops, getting them into melee. I move the Death Creepers over to try and start shooting at Rhaegar's Pride. Get a nice brain burster off here, disrupting these Rangers, so I can finalize my troop movements. And at this point, I issue an attack order from Grom into these Rangers, the rusty arrows start firing, and everything really starts kicking off. Everything starts getting orders. Grom kind of gets encircled here for just a moment, but everything's going to start moving. We got our trolls coming up and in. My opponent pulls his Illyrian Reavers in here, and I see this is a great opportunity to drop a nice foot of Gork. So while he's focused here, drop a big foot of Gork, killing almost all the Rangers and almost all the Illyrian Reavers. And by that point, our battle lines have been. These Stone Trolls are engaged with these Rangers and the Silveran Guard. They're going to get backed up by these Savage Orcs. Rhaegar's Pride's engaging the Savage Orc Biggins. I've got these Savage Orc Biggins moving last to kind of keep the Illyrian Reavers firing at them. I've got my Stone Trolls about to charge in here to these Sisters of Avalorn, and everything else is just advancing, trying to get into place. The Archmage of Fire gets off a fireball onto Grom, and Grom isn't looking great right now. But all of his units are engaged. His Sisters of Avalorn are getting chased by Stone Trolls, a position they don't want to be in. I got my Black Orc over here, taking on these Rangers and Silveran Guard. And at this point, just trying to take out the Talons of Torquelada. He sees a nice opportunity to drop a Burning Head. He does successfully get it off, going through my Savage Orcs, and hurts them quite badly. But I get my WAAAGH off. Everybody's engaged in combat. Rhaegar's Pride probably don't really want to be engaged with the Biggins. The Biggins have an anti-large bonus. They've got the physical resistance. You know, and there's only 18 unit models of Rhaegar's Pride, so they get surrounded pretty easily. My Death Creepers are taking these Illyrian Reavers for a long journey, which will culminate with them being way over here. So, just for your information, they're doing stuff, but they are not a big player at this point in the fight. Their Archmage gets down in here trying to take on Grom. Not a bad position. Grom is not doing very well. But Sisters of Avalorn are shaken, still getting chased by the Stone Trolls. My Orc Shaman is chasing down the Talons of Torquelada. And at this point, Grom has the Scroll of Shielding on him, but he's not doing good at all. Flaming Sword of Rune goes off, and Grom drops. The Orc Shaman's in here, taking on the Talons, the Rangers, and now the Archmage. Not exactly a position he wants to be in. I do pull these Stone Trolls over here in just a moment, but with the loss of Grom, it doesn't look great. My caster's doing not great, but Balance of Power is in my favor. I pull out my Black Orc Big Boss, and I try to get him to come over, and we really need to take out this Archmage of Fire. The Shaman gets riddled really quick and drops out of the battle. He routs, and then I don't think they end up... Obviously, they don't kill him because you can't target him anymore. But he's off the battlefield. So I've got units chasing down routing units. I pull back my Stone Trolls to try to pin down this Archmage of Fire unsuccessfully. And at this point, it's really just a smattering of their troops. I got some Rangers here. My Orc boys are going to go engage with them. I've got Savage Orcs against the Silveran Guard. The Rusty Heirs are over here. I got Savage Orc Biggins, Trolls, more Biggins against the Pure Main Company. My opponent still has all but 2 of his Illyrian Reaver archers, and still has some shots. Again, Death Creepers taking these Illyrian Reavers on a long journey. But shooting back over to here, the Talons of Torquelada, Rhaegar's Pride, and this Ranger start getting singled out by the Stone Trolls and the Black Orc Big Boss. Even with that Mighty Roar, that -8 leadership, they're not going to suffer any ill effect because they've got the they got the Psych immunity from Rabble Rouse right now. They've got the Brass Cleaver bumping their melee attack up to 48. So they're doing pretty good, and we end up getting everything taken care of over here. My opponent wisely goes to take on the Rusty Errors with his Archmage of Fire, and I don't have anything very fast at this point. So at this point, I really just have to try to regroup as best I can. So I pull my Stone Trolls over here. They take out the rest of the Silverian Guard over here. The Rusty Errors are so far away at this point, they really can't be saved, along with this Stone Troll. So I really just decide to consolidate my power. So I pull these Savage Orcs back. I pull my 2 Big Uns, my Black Orc Big Boss, and eventually my Stone Trolls. My Stone Trolls are going to come over here for a moment. These Savage Orcs will come back, and then I do finally get the Death Creepers actually to a place where they can assist. And at this point, I really just need to consolidate my forces. And that's pretty much what you're going to see here at the end. It's a very small core of my troops, but we'll pause it real quick. Looking at my opponent, he's got to chew through another 1,500 almost hit points of this Black Orc Big Boss. And now that he's below half, his Dragon... what is it? The Dragon Fang? Dragon Slayer's Fang activates, so he's got now 64 melee defense and 133 armor. So making him pretty tough. He cannot terror route off my units with his, or I guess it wouldn't be terror route, it would be fear route off any of my units with his Archmage, because I've got Rabble Rouse. And that's keeping all my guys safe. That's why everybody's kind of boxed up here. Savage Orcs all have that 10%. What is it? Is it 10% or is it 20? 25% physical resistance. So even more than what I was thinking. And then the Stone Trolls are sitting at almost max hit points. They can still regenerate another 3,000. They've got all 12 of their unit models. It's just not in the cards for my opponent. They don't have any more ranged, and even my Death Creepers are still quite healthy, only losing 8 unit models. So we'll fast forward for just a sec, and it's really just a dance at this point, trying to see what my opponent's going to do. I do end up getting back this Savage Orc and this Orc Boy, and I just have I have 100 more troops than them. And yeah, their Archmage is doing good, but I don't know how much magic she really has left. And they don't have any ranged. Not that I have any ranged, but the Illyrian Reaver Archers charging into combat, they're just not built for melee combat, especially against the fact that I have Big Uns, and Stone Trolls. So she had enough for at least a Fireball. I try to dodge it, lose about 200 hit points there. Trying to scout around with the Death Creepers. I know she's going to charge in here, so I end up already pulling people back. I activate Get Back Ear. My foot soldiers are engaged in melee up here. My WAAAGH was able to activate. I chase off the Archmage. And at this point, I'm just going to loop around with these Death Creepers and hit these guys in the back. These Stone Trolls and everything are going to terror route off. Or not terror, fear route off. Everything here. She drops yet another Fireball. This time being blocked very kindly by one of my Stone Trolls' massive frames. And everything but the Archmage is now routed. These are all broken. And she decides to stay on the ground, letting my Death Creepers get over to her. And as soon as the Death Creepers hit her, she's inflicted with that poison condition. So she's starting to slow down. She's getting stuck on the ground. And I just pull the Stone Trolls and the Black Orc Big Boss over here, surrounding her. And we'll fast forward just a bit here. So at the end, she's in here trying to put up a fight. And she doesn't actually break. My opponent got mad. I assume, and rage quit out. But I thought it was a valiant effort by my opponent. I think that my army just was able to edge it out with the stone trolls. Since she only had the few anti-large units in the Silveran Guard, and they ended up being engaged by Savage Orcs, she didn't have anything to take them out, seeing as she lost the Talons of Torquelada and the Sisters of Avalorn. But you know, if the stone trolls would have been gone, I think she could have walked away with a victory. But going through, even with Grom the Paunch dying so early, 67 kills, not bad. The Shaman getting routed off, but with 77 kills, that great Foot of Gork dropping on those Rangers and that Illyrian Reaver. 46 kills, not you know, setting any records with this Black Orc Big Boss, but he held together the army in the end. And then, you know, this Savage Orc doing really good with 82. This one with 55. 42 kills on the Rusty Arrows isn't terrible, but the real MVPs are these two Stone Trolls, walking away with a combined total of 261 kills. And, you know, that's just a huge chunk. Out of 800 killed, you know, they're walking away with a fourth of the kills right there. This one picking up 2 chevrons, and this one picking up a single chevron, and then one of my Savage Orcs picking up a chevron. Not bad. The Death Creepers I wish I could have used a little better. I mean, yeah, they kited around one of the Illyrian Reavers for most of the fight, but I don't know. Obviously I won, but, you know, against a slightly more skilled player, you know, I would have needed them over in this fight. Now looking at my opponent, you know, 2 Rangers walked away with no kills. The Sisters of Avalorn walked away with no kills. That is a huge, you know what, Rangers are 650, something like that. Even if they're 600, that's 12, and I know Sisters of Avalorn are 1,100. You know, that's 2,300 gold going to nothing. Now, the Sisters of Avalorn did get some shots on Grom, so, you know, I can at least give them that. But other than that, you know, most of her kills came from this Pure Main Company, or the Pure Main Company, this Silveran Guard, the Archmage, and then the Reavers didn't do bad, but everything else, like, I don't know what possessed my opponent to keep Rhaegar's Pride engaged with Biggins, but I guess that's, you know, thought that she could take him. But looking at the difference, you know, I lost 429, she lost 800, and I feel pretty good about that victory. That battle map, Tor Anlek, is a weird one. It's not my favorite battle map, and it does come up quite often on multiplayer, but I think most of the times I've gone there, I have ended up walking away with the victory. I don't know. I don't like that the top of the hill has that building. I feel like there's a lot of cheesy ways to use that building for you know, strategic deployment. And I mean, you even saw me use it at the end. You know, I was able to position that as one of my flanks. But I don't know. Every map has something, but I don't like the frequency of it. So hopefully you were entertained by the battle at the very least. You know, hopefully you're seeing the improvement of my skill. I definitely noticed the improvement from when I first started putting these videos out on YouTube, and even before that, you know, just fighting multiplayer battles for the sake of fighting them. But hopefully you guys like this. If you did, drop a like down below, and any comments that you put down there are greatly appreciated. I do enjoy reading them when I get them. So thank you all for watching, and as always, I've been Father of the Ever-Chosen.